Caitlin Clark, as you know, is white. Her coach, Lisa Bluter, she's white also. Most of Clark's teammates are white. Iowa is seen as the white Cinderella of women's college basketball.
Clark in transition,
She's Diana Taurasi, she's Steph Curry, she's insert great shooter.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion may ruin the women's NCAA basketball tournament.
Welcome back to the Dark Times channel. And so here we go again, back with another one. And it's been a while since I've done a video on Jason Whitlock, but Jason Whitlock couldn't resist. He couldn't resist dog whistling to his base. And Jason Whitlock's base, for those of you who don't know, are going to be people from a certain community that fall into that far right-wing evangelical mold.
What rights black people don't have. Also, white people, yeah, we do have a record of critique of your oppression. In fact, do you know how many of our ancestors fought in the Civil War to free your ancestors? Bloodiest war in the United States history was over what was right, and it was largely white people fighting it.
And it's one thing if Jason Whitlock actually believed half of the stuff that he said, and he was living that life, but he's not, and he's been called out for it before.
Jason Whitlock, a man who has rubbed people the wrong way, and he got exactly what he asked for after tweeting, "How is this possible? Appropriate?" Jason, they're called targeted ads. You dope.
And so much like a Candace Owens, Jason Whitlock is bought and paid for by a lot of these right-wing think tanks and corporations to basically blame everything negative happening in this country, to blame it on so-called black people. A lot of these same right-wing talking points that we hear over and over again. And so leave it up to Jason Whitlock to find a way to Trojan horse DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, into women's March Madness.
D.E.I. is the biggest threat facing Caitlin Clark and the Iowa Hawkeyes in the NCAA tournament. It's not Angel Reese or Juju Watkins or even Don Staley's undefeated South Carolina Gamecocks. It's diversity, equity, and inclusion. The allegedly anti-racist brainwashing policies and mindset that rule academia. D.E.I. persuaded the 12-member NCAA selection committee to hand Clark and the Hawkeyes the most difficult Final Four path in women's basketball. The committee, Lisa Dickerson, Dorita Dawkins, Denise Barricado, Jill Bodensteiner, Jenny Bramer, Amanda Braun, Amy Folan, Alex Gary, Lizzie Gomez, Josh Heard, Jill Shields, and Lynn Teague placed Clark in the same bracket as Kansas State, UCLA, and LSU, giving the second-ranked Hawkeyes the most difficult draw of the tournament.
And I was trying to follow. I really was. I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. I don't know why I do that, but that's just my nature. If somebody's trying to make a valid point, I'm going to listen and I'm going to try to connect the dots if there's any dots to be connected. But there's no dots to be connected here. The only dots to be connected is that Jason Whitlock is exactly who we thought he was. Because there's no way that anybody could come up with a rational explanation as to why Jason Whitlock would say that DEI is the reason why Caitlin Clark has a tough schedule. And that's subjective in and of itself. And let's just say that is the case. Even if you do think that is the case, that Caitlin Clark has the toughest schedule, even if that's the case, you think she has the toughest schedule because the committee is made up of a diverse group of people. And amongst this diverse group of people, they couldn't help but discriminate against poor little Caitlin Clark and give her the toughest schedule. That's what you call beyond the reach. And I'm not knocking the hustle. The easiest way to get money these days, if you're a so-called black person, is just to spew right-wing talking points. Everybody knows that's the hustle, especially on YouTube. You can make a good living doing it.
It's called a grift game, brother. It's a grift game. We know the grift game. You have always had certain black folks who are like, yo, I can get paid by these folks.
And I'm not gonna lie, I actually thought about it before. Not seriously, but it crossed my mind. Give me a little conservative channel, spew some right-wing talking points, but I couldn't do it. The thought of it, I think it would probably make me physically sick. I'm just not built like that. But some people are. And so to each their own. If somebody's going to give you thousands of dollars a month to spew some right-wing talking points that they already believe, and in the end, it's not going to make a difference anyway, because like I said, the main people that are tuning in are people that believe this in their soul anyway, and it's inbred in them, and they're raised this way. So no matter what you say, you're not going to change their minds anyway. You're only validating what they were brought to believe. And so I thought about it. It crossed my mind once or twice. But I just can't do it. I'm not built like that. I don't think I could sleep at night. And I want to play another clip real quick. And this is Jason Whitlock. And I want you guys to take note on how he contradicts himself. He's going to pretty much contradict everything that he just said.
The Women's Selection Committee is a confederacy of DEI believing liberals. It's a group of athletics directors and deputy athletics directors who promote DEI. They demonstrate their anti-racism by being racist against white people. That's what DEI does. That's how Iowa received the toughest draw in the tournament. The well-intentioned selection committee bent over backwards, proving it did not favor Clark in Iowa. It did that by punishing Clark in Iowa. See how that works? See how DEI works? They would rather the women's tournament underachieve in terms of relevance than risk giving Iowa an easy path to the Final Four.
And so I'm not sure if y'all caught that or not, but to me, that sounds like a Caitlin Clark affirmative action program, if I've ever heard one. And subsequently, because of that, a lot of people are tuning in to see it. A lot of white people that never watched college basketball before because allegedly it was filled with too many nappy-headed hoes. And those aren't my words, but words that were said before.
That's some rough girls from Rutgers, man. They got tattoos and
some hardcore hoes.
That's some nappy-headed hoes there. I'm gonna tell you that now. Man, that's some. Ooh.
And so now all of a sudden they're tuning in because they have a really good white basketball player. That sounds like a them problem. If we're talking about a society that's supposed to be based on merit, like Jason Whitlock and a lot of his followers like to talk about and like to claim, that we live in a society that's based on merit and not handouts or social welfare programs, or at least they're not supposed to be. That's what the talk is. That's what they say. And so now all of a sudden, Jason Whitlock decides to drag DEI in the mix and blame DEI as the reason why Caitlin Clark didn't get the easiest possible schedule. Make it make sense. And everybody probably knows by now the men's college football playoff system just went to 12 teams. And so let's say somewhere down the line, Deion Sanders has got his guys in there. And somehow, some way, they got one of the easiest schedules. Jason Whitlock would be the first one in line to start talking that talk and to say how Deion doesn't deserve to have the easiest schedule and to say that they're giving Deion a special handout or a privilege. He will probably link that to DEI somehow. It's performative at this point. It's not even realistic grifting. If you're going to grift, at least make it somewhat realistic. And at this point, they might as well be trolling because I don't know how anybody's supposed to take Jason Whitlock serious because he's just too over the top. He's too over the top with it, but we're going to see how it plays out. I'm quite sure that when it's all said and done, they're going to have Caitlin Clark right there in the thick of it. I'm pretty sure she'll wind up making it to the Final Four at the very least, somehow, some way. Y'all know what I mean. But go ahead and chime in below. Let me know how y'all feel on this one. And as usual, peace, chaos.